So my name is Venky, VP and GM of Zoominfo, and I'm sure most of you know Zoominfo. If not, we are a B2B SaaS provider for marketeers and sales professional. We are one of the largest data providers in terms of personal and company data, and we are going to here in a way discuss and let's make it as interactive as possible. We will talk about the most important things, why we are all in the business, how do we get our buyers to buy things, right? And how the AI and data is going to help. With that, safe harbor, some of the things we are seeing maybe in the roadmap, but we'll talk more what's being demoed in our booth also. This is our agenda. We will talk about a little bit of the AI revolution. We will move into how Zoominfo uses AI, and then in terms of a couple of points or a few slides about where, and some of the speakers before me talked about this, what is the hesitation in AI adoption within the company, within the leadership, within the customers, and then we will talk about how do we bring all this together, the data and the AI together, and then some of the key takeaways. With that, AI is here, right? And here it's to stay. So I know there have been still talks in the market, and we spoke about this. And there's a lot of more articles that's coming out like, hey, is AI bringing the value? Some of the speakers before me spoke about, hey, we invested a lot in the last year. CEO was saying, what's the value it's bringing to our company? I'm sure these debates will keep going on, but it's here to stay, right? And we'll talk more why so. Of course, globally we are seeing AI passing tests. In US, we see that the AI is passing in flying colors on the MET test. I'm sure SAT, of course, in the right way, right? So we're also talking about how ChatGPT. This is in the bad side, but we're also seeing a lot more attention given how ChatGPT or GenAI can help in proctoring or monitoring some of the challenges that we have faced in the last few months, particularly with NEET exam, but most with other competitive exams too, right? So it's global, but it's also close to our market. Is it all good? Absolutely not. I'm sure you guys have read about many of these articles, and the latest one is obviously like in AI getting to suicide itself, or getting into a suicidal mode, or pushing people to the edge, right? So there are always pros and cons. Obviously, some of these cons obviously come up to the upper layer much faster, and more attention is given to that. But what is happening in the market, right? So it's just a glimpse of what you see here is where AI word or a Gen AI word was not mentioned that much in a earnings call, or in where there is a funding conversation, or even market conversation that's happening where we have made a sale or a new customer base or anything, right? As you can see here, a glimpse of how much AI word or a Gen AI word is getting mentioned in the earnings call. This is just to show us that how much companies are giving importance. And I think the first presentation today, by a show of hands, we were talking about how many companies here are investing in AI or using in AI, right? Almost we saw that 90% of the people here who are startup founders, they put up their hands saying that, yeah, I'm using AI. And even I think there was a gentleman here who told, I'm not using AI, but not yet, right? That's the answer. So that's where you see like more of the companies, public or startups, they are in a way pushed to either talk about AI or adopt AI or have AI in the roadmap. So it's again, same point, right? It's here to stay. Again, that's a pro, that's con. I'm sure you guys have seen this, right? Is AI perfect? Absolutely not. I'll keep pondering a little bit about why AI is not perfect so that we can get to see like what are the reasons behind it. But yes, what you feed is what you get, right? So I'm sure you guys have seen this, a lot more attention given again to such things or hallucination that's coming out of AI, where when you ask for a input feedback or an output, yes, it's not fully dependable. It's not fully that you can straight away use in your production, things like that. But we are going to see this more and more as we adopt AI, right? When you ask for something, it's going to give you something that's exactly what you not expect. why is there a AI hesitation in the market? Why is there a AI hesitation in terms of the leadership adoption, in terms of market adoption, in terms of customer adoption? Some of the points we spoke about, cost and governance and the other parts, right? But it's a very, very simple factor that we are seeing here is we are still worried not only about the hallucination and not, but how this works, right? People are still thinking, and there's a data from BCG, Boston Consulting Group, to show us that many of the leadership or many of the C-level are saying, we do not understand AI yet. Not only the value, but where we can use the use cases and the cost and the governance, it's all put together, right? So that's where you see almost 52% of the people are still, in the high-level, C-level people are saying, we do not understand yet. And when you go bottom to the maturity level, you can see only that a very less, around 3% of the folks are able to see that where it brings in, talk sensible in the market, or showcase how the value is coming out of that. The question that I'm sure we are being asked, and we spoke about in a lot of the sessions before this, right? Is my leadership ready for AI? Is my customer ready for AI? And is my team ready for AI? We'll touch upon this a little bit, right? Because it's not the development teams or engineering or the product teams that need to be there, but your sales and marketing. That's our crux of the talk today, but my operations team, are they ready in terms of adopting AI? What we mean by that is, it's not one part is developing, one part is obviously going to production, implementing, taking to customers and so on. But when my internal teams are using these tools, when I buy an AI tool, are they ready to use it? Are they ready to use it effectively? Do they see the real production value that it's bringing in, right? So those are the things I think more and more conversation is happening, not only from the C-level, but the next level too. Hey, I'm being asked to use this tool. I'm an SDR, I'm a BDR, or I'm an AEA. I'm being asked to use this tool. Am I using it in the right way? Am I utilizing all the capabilities? Or my tool, is it bringing the right outputs to use for me so that I can be productive as I can be? As you go beyond, like, why again? Why people are scared? Obviously, we will touch upon some of the things that the other speakers spoke about in terms of data commons and so on, but people are afraid to make wrong decisions, right? People are saying, can I talk to a customer as an SDR and talk about something that I will look stupid? Or will I make a wrong decision based on the recommendations from my Gen AI? Or you can see that, am I going to say something to my customer or a prospect that they're going to ask me, how did you know this, right? Is there a trust factor that's going to get impacted, right? Or they're going to ask, where did you get this data from, right? Because it's still not available public. So a personal credibility part, and so on, right? So as you can see, the top 5 reasons are, where am I getting the source? Can I depend on it? Is it real time? Is it good enough? Or am I breaching, again, any part of the personal info or governance? So those are the top 5 reasons where not only the leadership, but the people who are using the Gen AI tools, they are scared to be fully dependent on it. Let's get to how do we solve this, right? I'm sure with all the talks before and after, we are going to hit this again and again in the 2 days. I think the last talk before the previous one, they spoke about very important one, like, how do I believe in my AI, or how do I believe in my Gen AI tool? The base factor, the engine that powers is data, right? If my data is dependable, if my data is good enough, large enough, then my decisions that I'm going to get out of the Gen AI is also going to be the same way. So that's where it's very important to know that how much good is my data, how much vast is my data, where am I getting this data, how frequent I am updating this data, so that we know that we can depend on these outputs. Some gentleman here in the morning spoke about CRM death or similar words, right? So as a marketeer, as a sales professional, as a BDR, as a AAM,
how much can I depend on the CRM data I have? And obviously, it's debatable, is CRM going to go away and so not, but is it dependable? Can I make decisions based on it? Can I talk to my customer or a prospect based on that, right? So again, boils down to the one single point, is my data that I have as a first party or a third party data, is that good enough? Some examples before you go to the solutions to again, touch upon the point, right? This is a dump, for example, from a CRM. We are going to talk about what is pull, the prospects or the customers. I want to either a cross-sell or upsell or a prospect that I'm going to sell first. It talks about the company info, the personal info, and so on. As you can see here, what hits you is a lot of things, right? There are fields that's missing. There are fields that could be wrong. There are fields that have different types of data, different format of data. As you can see here, if I want to talk to somebody, emails are missing. The phone numbers are wrong. The phone numbers are wrong format. The company info is wrong, so that I can't depend on this to go and talk to my prospect or a customer. And obviously, there are fake names, fake emails. We haven't even touched about duplicates. So the issues are large, right? So when you get from the CRM data, and that's where the talk is like, is my CRM good enough, and so on in the market, but you can't just depend on this data. How big it is doesn't matter. It's a point of how good it is. Again, can I use ChatGPT? Absolutely, you can. You can write an email. You can make it write very sensible emails using ChatGPT. But again, you're going to do all that based on the data we spoke about, right? An example, hey, I'm going to talk to a prospect. I'm going to talk about, hey, you are moving from this. You are moved from this office to this. But if that email has a wrong data, right? As you can see here, I'm going to see like the person name could be wrong. I don't have the topics that I want to talk about. I don't want the exact products that he may be looking at. So the issues are large, right? So, and so you can't just use a pure ChatGPT or any other Gen AI if your data is wrong. So where are we? As I spoke about, Zoominfo has the largest amount of data. And that's where you can see that it's not only the personal data or the company data, right? It's about the behavioral or the intent data. It's about the depth and the breadth of this data that we spoke about. Also we talked a little bit about the data security, the data governance, the private data that's available, and then how much it's enriched with your CRM and not, and things like that. And also about the data intents and signals that we talk about, and we'll talk about in a few minutes. So we are far away in compared to our competitors, that we are leaders in this data spread, and that's where it helps us to help our customers to get to the right insights. The second one, yes, for a buyer or a seller or a marketer, the data is important, right? The strong data foundation is important. The next one is, I'm going to apply AI on this. The data is huge. So what are the exact signals that I'm, as a marketer or a sales professional or even an operational guy, what are those signals that's going to help me? The question is going to come. So many signals are coming in, right? How do I select the right signal? What are the prioritization of the signals? And it could be a funding news. It could be a shift of a C-level employee. It could be that I'm starting a new office in some place. It could be or I'm adopting a new technology. I'm looking for a new vendor. I'm floating a new RFQ, right? There can be multiple intents and signals. So what is that best? Because when you talk to a prospect, your face time is so less. What are those top signals and what are those top customers I need to concentrate on? How is the signals and intents from Zoominfo is going to help us? Let's go through what are the signals we are speaking about, right? As a buyer, as you can see here, we're going to talk about obviously the first intents, right? Yes, there is an intention to buy from my prospect. They are either researching, they either came to my website, or they have put up a RFQ, or they are a new company that's coming to this particular market that could be using my product or willing to use my product. There could be champion moves we spoke about, right? One of the C-level that I worked in previous company moved to this company. So I want to reach out to them and say, hey, use my product. Would you be interested to use my product again? So how fast, how real time can I know there is a champion move? We spoke about the earning calls. Earning calls is an amazing insight provider to know what the company is working on or what the company is going to invest in. So how do you get these signals as fast, as real time as possible and help your marketeers and sales professional? Interesting job postings, right? That tells us what technologies they are looking for. Are they going to a new technology field? Are they looking to form a new team or a vertical, or a business vertical even, right? So the job postings are just not a signal and intent to tell us what type of technologies they are working right now, but it also gives an amazing intent and signal to know what they may be working on. And if my product suits those needs, it's an excellent intent and signal to reach out to them very early in the process. Obviously, we have G2s, trust radius, and other signals that comes in that feeds us to know like what's happening with the company. We spoke about the website visits, and how do you fill all this as a buyer research or a marketing research so that we can get to the prospect with the right data. These are the things that is, I would say, the tip of the iceberg, which is very visible. There are a lot of things that we miss out, right? When a particular customer or a prospect visits your website and they have filled a form saying that I'm interested in, how fast can you get to them or how do you prioritize that? How do you make them feel that they are special in a way of unique chatting or unique conversation, and fast conversation back to them, because they have a lot of opportunities in the world. They have a lot of choices. So you don't want them to wait. You don't want them to be reached out with a wrong signal. You don't want them to be feeling that they are one among the 1,000 that you're reaching out to. So how do you make your prospect that you're visiting your website showing interest in some of the pages, or filling a form to say that I'm interested in a particular product? How fast can you reach out to them? All this feeds into the sales prospecting, of course. We spoke about how do you pull from the CRM, how do you prioritize the opportunity, how do you do an account research on that to know that how all these signals in a way gives you the priority of those customers. We didn't speak about multi-threading a lot. Multi-threading means how do you look at all these multiple signals and how do you prioritize each that, so you give a weightage to this so that you know that which customer or which prospect that you should be reaching out first. So all this, as you can see, combines into your opportunity cost, then feeds into, and some of the talks we had earlier today spoke about the TAM, right? As you can imagine, the market is huge, maybe you're 100%, but only 10% of our TAM is really looking to buy. So how do you reach out to the 10% who are really willing or showing an intent to buy? Which means how do you improve the efficiency of your SDRs, BDRs, and marketeers so that you reach out to the right people or the right companies who are really willing to buy, so that you are obviously your resources not drained, and how do you also create that sticky branding with the customer? So it also brings in very important part of, let's go to the next one. So why is this hard? This all looks very easy. Like I combine these signals, I put all these intents to signal, I give a weightage, I prioritize. It should all work easily, right? The challenges we see with the data, and also not only data that's in your system, but also that you're getting from the market. It could be scoops, it could be signals that's coming in. Some of them are not visible. We spoke about some of these things that's there available in the public domains and public documents and easy websites, but some of them are not easily visible. So how do you collect that? How do you put weightage to that? And we spoke about the 90% of your TAM that's not willing to buy. So if you're reaching out to them, you're just wasting your time. And signals sit in silos inside your company, right? For example, your marketing team may know that, I don't know, 10 of your customers or prospects visit your websites, but that has not gone to your SDRs. So when they speak to these prospects, they're not even bringing up the point that, hey, you visited my website and you're shown interest by filling a form, because it all sits in your marketing team and it has not reached your sales team. Same with operational teams, right? Your operational team, you are managing your CRM, they may have insights into your CRM that's not reached either a marketing team or your sales team. So how do you break the silos between your marketing, your sales, and operational team, and how that is done automatically is what we are going to look at. Last but not the least, I'm sure you guys would have guessed it by now, the signals are noisy. It could be duplicates, it could be signals that you cannot depend on, or it could be false signals that you cannot make a decision based on. So again, point of losing the credibility, losing the trust when you talk to a prospect. How do you solve all these three together? That's where we have released a couple of months back from Zoominfo what we call as the Zoominfo Copilot, and you can obviously visit our booth to see the demos. But what we are seeing with the first few thousand customers that we have either betaed or released to this, we are seeing that the TAM first is the current pipeline, right? How the Copilot signals, how do we input the weightage, all these intents and signals, and how this coming together, how that helps to improve from what we have right now. That's what you see, the known accounts here, and how the Copilot, how the GenAI and the AI-enabled signals, how it is increasing your prospects or increasing your the amount of customers that you can reach out almost by 33%. And we also see these are the customers that you already have in your CRM, or this is the 10% of the TAM that I spoke about. What about the white space accounts, right? When we talk about the white space accounts, again with the GenAI, we see an amazing increase of 250% on the TAM, and these are the accounts you would have never reached out without the GenAI providing a weightage, providing intents and signals so that you reach out to them with the right data and signals. So what you can see here is, if you are just sticking to the old way, where you're looking at CRM or the data without a weightage of these signals, you wouldn't have gone to this. And if you're just stuck to your current pipeline and not looking at your overall TAM, and where there's a white space there where you can reach out with the intents and signals, you're going to miss out on this part also. Yes, this is part of your 90%, but there is an amazing area here where you can reach out to these passive customers, if you will, and make them active in a way, or make them interested in your product. So that's where combining the right data, putting them all together, giving them weightage, and bringing them in a way above the layer, right? So that your sales and marketing teams can act upon that. The last or the third one is, yes, we spoke about a little bit about this when we started. It's all automated, it's all tooling. There is a definite demand for a human touch, right? You can't just fully automate it. Obviously, there are conversations about AI SDR and AI agents who will take over some of these things, but till then, you need the human touch. What we mean by that is, very simple example, just a market research that we published. You can see the amazing increase where you see that everybody wants a GenAI in their title, right? Not only in the C-level. Obviously, in the C-level, everybody wants to be called somewhere that I'm working on AI and so on. But you can see here, even in a software engineer levels, you can see that a lot more people are putting either an AI in the title, or in their experience that I'm working on an AI pipeline or a GenAI or a prompt engineer. The titles are changing with a lot more AI words in it. And the same way where you see like folks are using more and more on AI terms in their, obviously in the CVs and so on, and also the titles. So what it shows us, again, back to the point of how GenAI and AI is important, but also how as a overall state of the union, how the overall system of SDRs, AAMs are changing in terms of adopting to use it. So when they converse to their prospects, how do you bring this human touch into the picture so that GenAI doesn't look alien to people, and how do you, in a way, integrate that to your conversations? The last one, again, employing the right tech. You have the best data, you have people who are trained on the tools, you have the right signals and intents that gives you the priorities and bringing it to the top level so that you can act upon that real time. But what about the right tech, right? Without the right tech, all this fails. We spoke a little bit about this. It's important that how do you put weightage to this? How do you score your leads? How do you get your MQLs, but they are getting to the right audience and the right time with the right priority? How do you bump up these to because every SDR, AAMs, or marketers have a limited time. So how do you bring that to their first, what we call as what we call as the buying committee in the companies. How do you tell the SDRs these are the right people to reach out to? And also, how do you help in the content creation? We little bit spoke about the ChatGPT UI, but we will show you a demo in the booth. How do you create all this data together to help your SDRs reach out to their customers with the right content? When I say the right content, it's not only about your product, it's not only about what's happening in the market, but also the tone and how do you speak about some of the history, where they are. Again, creating that credibility and the trust part with the customer, but with a very real-time emailing or a calling. How do you plan your accounts? How do you prioritize which customers or which prospects to reach out to first, right? And last but not, again, similar to the email, how do you personalize? We spoke about bots that will reach out to the customers if they've shown interest in your website, so that they are not waiting for a real human to call them. It could be a chat bot, it could be a calling agent that gets to the customer or a prospect and says, hey, you visited my website, these are the areas you looked at, would you like a demo? Would you like to get on a call? And when they get on a call, how do you personalize those calls? How do you know that what they are looking for? You don't talk in general language again, but how do you also get insight from those calls? So obviously conversational intelligence brings a lot of value here, where your calls are recorded and trying to find intensive signals from your calls. And I'll touch upon that in a minute. So how do we use AI? We spoke about many of this. Obviously, these data is all table stake, right? Where are they domain? What's the employee range? Where is your headquarters? Is this a market fit for you to go as a customer or a prospect? Are they, how long they are on the market and things like that? But you can see the breadth of data that's coming in right now with all the signals intents. So we spoke about the earnings, right? How do you look at the earnings? How do you go into this and say that what type of intents or signals, or how do I use some of these insights from the earnings when I write to a prospect or a customer, or when I get on a call, what should I talk about? How do I write my emails, or what did I learn from the replies from those customers before? Can I look at my call? We spoke about a little bit the call transcript, what we call as a chorus offering, which listens to your calls and gets from the call, it learns from the call and feeds back intents and signals to you. What are the ads they are posting? What are the chat messages from my chatbot? Can I learn from that, right? So all this will help us to get to the right one. How do you do this? Obviously, we can create workflows, and some of the conversations before me were talking about the workflows, right? How do you automate these end-to-end workflows with your prospects? And some of these workflows are end-to-end automated in terms of reaching out to them when they visit a website, which is a customer acquisition. If they are already a customer and I'm talking to them about an upsell or a reskill, can I create a upskilling workplay, right? Or a workflow. So I think a lot more things are going to come. And this is a marketplace, right? I'm sure this is an innovative place where as more and more customers use offerings, they're going to come up with new plays that can be created. It's an example, for example, you can see that you get a right signal, and the Acme is the company that visited, for example, an Automation Anywhere. They have visited your pricing page. You also get the data about their employee headcounts and the company profile. And there are a lot of signals that we spoke about in the small Excel that I showed you. They have raised something, they are moving a headquarters, there could be C-level moves, and so on, right? And how do you create a workflow based on that? And how do you create that workflow that, in a way, helps your SDRs or your marketeers to go to the customer and say, hey, we saw that either you get to the champion that I spoke about, you landed a new role in the company, can we talk today, right? Or you visited my website, what are you looking for? Can we get on a call? Or automatically it set up a call. Or and ChatGPT enable email that's sent to about our product, about what all the insights and signals that you got, and all these are automated, right? Most of these things, there's a less and less human touch that's happening. Based on the intents and signals, what the SDRs or AEs are creating or just the workflows, once that's created, all this are without a human touch. Obviously, there will be outputs here that the humans need to tune it or modify the workflow or go to the next step in the process, but you can see that the end-to-end, it's all without a human. We will show you the demo when you visit our booth, but you can see most of these in actions. I'm not going to dwell too much into it, but you can see that based on all the signals and intents, based on your competitor researches and many other things, we are going to give you like which account, is this the right time, who are in your buying group that I spoke about, and how most important is what to say and how to say it, right? Either it's an email or in the calls with the notes that you need, everything is now automated through the Copilot. How do we do this? We spoke a little bit about this. We have the largest data in terms of, obviously, we have the largest data in terms of the company and personal profiles. Where do we get this data? We spoke about a little bit about the data that comes in from multiple sources like G2, Trust Radius, and so on. We spend almost every year $250 million collecting data. Obviously, we have data sources, we buy data, but we also have a lot of partners who provide us data. We have community people who provide us data. We have bots that goes in and scrapes the web and gets us the data. We also have a lot of manual researchers and data researchers who provide us the data, who enrich the data, right? So that's where you can see the amount of data we are talking on, obviously in multiple millions of data that comes in every day that we enrich. And it's about multiple layers of data that I spoke about. It could be like intent data that shows that it's a new technology or a new C-level move is happening. There could be an acquisition that's happening, or they are looking for an acquisition. There could be job changes, not only in the C-level, but other places too, that will help us to know if there is a new division being set up or a division that's closed. And then obviously integrating with your CRM and other tools in your organization so that we can get all this. Marry all this together, then how do you feed into our Copilot engine that gives you the right intent and signals for you to take a decision in real time with the right priority that you can take a decision on. So what are the key takeaways? AI is not perfect. Obviously, we have known that for some time. It's going to be like this for some time. So even robots will make or does make mistakes. What is more important is the quality of data and the quantity of data in a way, right? So, and that's where companies like Zoominfo will help us to make the right decisions based on the data spread that they have. Clean, accurate data is essential because what you feed is what you get. The third one is data. How do you prioritize? How do you give weightage to it? How do you combine it together? How do you give in the form of a right output that can be used by your team? And that's where Copilot will help you guys a lot in terms of reaching out to your prospect, reaching out to your present customers to upsell or cross-sell. Thank you, and we are demoing Copilot in our booth, so please visit us, and we'll talk more. Thank you, guys.